I stomped my feet on the floor, pounded the walls with my fists, and let out my most glass-shattering scream.
There she goes again, throwing another temper tantrum.
That was my dad, and that's me rolling around like a pig in mud. My dad was about to leave for another business trip, and I didn't want him to go. He was a wealthy, highly successful businessman and was constantly traveling the world to meet with new clients. But Dad, do you have to go?
Yes, someone has to pay for this mansion and all of your expensive things. Now get up off the floor. You don't see your sister throwing a tantrum, do you?
Yeah, Jenny. You look like one of those filthy goats we saw at the petting zoo. Aw, those goats were so cute. My big sister Clara gave me a disgusted look. She was a year older and always trying to make me look bad. And okay, maybe being on the floor wasn't helping my case. Hi everyone, I'm Jenny, aka the Jockey Barbie. But before I tell you how I got that nickname, please like and subscribe. Growing up, my sister had always overshadowed me. When I was 6 and learned how to play the ukulele, Clara taught herself to play the violin. When I put on a puppet show for my parents with stuffed animals, Clara directed a whole play with actors and fancy sets and everything. One time when I was 12, the president and the first lady came to visit our house for dinner. It was a big deal. There were a bunch of reporters, and the staff prepared the house for weeks. My dad was so nervous that he started yelling at a servant.
This is gold cutlery. I told you to use silver. The first lady hates gold. Fix it now.
Yeah, everybody knows that. Are you stupid? When they walked away, I sneaked over to the servant, who was in tears. You're doing a great job. And then I slipped her a huge tip. I put on my best dress for dinner. I thought I looked cute, at least until I saw Clara. She looked like an absolute princess. At first, it made me feel invisible, but then I decided to be brave. When it came time to serve the soup, I jumped up. I got this. I was thrilled. Finally, a chance to make Mom and Dad proud. I walked gingerly to the First Lady, being extra careful, when suddenly a foot stuck out and tripped me. The soup went flying all over the First Lady and the President. Then a bunch of Secret Service guys tackled me like I was an assassin or something. That's when I noticed Clara pull her foot back under the table. She'd done it on purpose.
Go to your room.
It wasn't my fault, it was Clara. You're such an embarrassment. The news was on TV by midnight, and the next day my parents sent me off to a boarding school on the other side of the country. It was lonely at first. My family was treating me like a black sheep, even though I'd done nothing wrong. My dad made sure my bank account was full, but he never had time to visit or even talk. I decided I couldn't spend all my time being homesick. I was going to make something of myself here. I signed up for all the top activities, like horseback riding, water polo, and ballet. By the time I was 16, I was #1 in all of them. I even ran for school president and won. Even though I was thriving, I didn't want to leave anything to chance. So I was always complimenting people and buying them gifts, even the teachers. I wanted people to like me, and it seemed to be working, with one exception, this boy, Josh. Josh worked in the stables taking care of the horses and seemed immune to my compliments. Hey Josh, is that a new shirt? Looks nice.
It's old and covered in dirt. You don't have to try so hard to be liked, you know.
It was just a compliment, geez.
It was a fake compliment. You might have everyone else here fooled, but not me.
What was his problem? He did have gorgeous eyes, though. As he handed me the horse's reins, our hands touched. It was electric, an instant spark. But then he pulled away. How about I take you out for lunch at La Rosa? It's the fancy place by…
No, I don't need your bribes. Happy riding.
It wasn't a bribe, it was an invitation. But Josh had already walked away. With race day only a week away, I needed to focus on training. But as hard as I tried, my mind kept wandering back to Josh. Maybe the right gift would win him over. Hey Josh, I saw these boots and thought of you.
Told you I don't want your bribes.
Do you even know what a bribe is? I'm not asking for anything in return.
Yeah, you are. You're asking me to like you.
So you admit you don't like me. What did I do to you?
I didn't say I didn't like you. I just don't know the real you.
At that moment, he leaned in close to me. Oh, my heart fluttered. Was he about to kiss me? But then he stretched past me to adjust the saddle. I totally knew that's what he was doing. Why would I even want Josh to like me? He was always dirty, smelled like a farm, and he was the least friendly person I knew besides my sister Clara. Maybe that's why. For all the success I'd had at this school, Josh was a reminder that back home I was no one special. On the day of the race, I was feeling nervous, but I stayed focused and came in first place. My parents hadn't visited me since I'd arrived, but part of me was still hoping to see them in the stands cheering me on. Of course, they weren't there, but to my surprise, Josh was.
Congrats!
I can't believe you came to support me. You do like me.
I was already here. It had nothing to do with you.
Liar. Josh smiled at me and butterflies danced in my stomach. As he walked away, I patted my horse Nessa on the neck. You hear that, girl? I think he likes us. The next day, me and Nessa were on the front page of a national newspaper. Not long after that, I got a FaceTime call from my dad. I was shocked. He normally just sent me emails.
Hey, honey, I wanted to let you know we're very proud of you. Feel free to mention my business the next time you talk to reporters.
Thanks, Dad, I will. Do you think you'll be able to come visit soon?
I'm afraid not. We're in Japan with your sister right now.
Japan?
Sorry, honey, but we'll definitely come when you try out for the Olympics team. That's the big one.
Just then, Clara's face appeared. Yeah, anyone can win a national race. An international race is the real challenge. That's not fair. I worked really hard. You've never won a national race.
We have to go, honey. We just got to the Hello Kitty store.
Then he hung up without even saying goodbye. I couldn't help it. I started to cry. And that's when Josh found me. Go ahead, make fun of me. You know you want to.
I never wanted to put you down. I just wanted you to be real, and it looks like you finally are.
Yep, real tears and snot here. As real as it gets.
Come on, I want to show you something.
Josh held out his hand. I felt a rush of warmth as I took it. Josh took me to the fields behind the school and showed me the foals running around. It was the cutest thing I'd ever seen. I approached the mom slowly so I wouldn't spook her.
Whoa. She doesn't like most people. Be careful.
Just then, the mom nuzzled her nose against my hand. Aw, you're just a big sweetie, aren't you, girl? I noticed Josh looking at me funny. What?
I just never realized how gentle you are.
After that day, Josh and I started hanging out more. He was strange and funny, and I loved how kind he was to animals. I was surprised to learn that he didn't actually go to our school.
No way my parents could ever afford that. They've been struggling with money, so I took this job to help out.
Josh, I'm so sorry.
Why? We're happy. I love working with horses. Sure, times are tough, but money isn't everything. They're amazing parents.
You're lucky. I mean, don't get me wrong, my parents are great. They're just not around much. But as the months went by, I started hearing from my parents more and more often. They even came to visit. I was winning races left and right, and the media nicknamed me the Jockey Barbie. I was on TV, magazine covers. My life was a whirlwind.
Honey, I thought you were going to mention my business during your interview today.
I did, didn't I?
Yes, but only once. We agreed on 4 times. Repetition sells.
Okay, I'll try harder next time. My favorite moments were the quiet ones, just me and Nessa, going for rides before sunsets, and my long talks with Josh in the stables. One day our hands touched, and I felt that same charge I did before. But this time Josh didn't pull away. He took my hand in his and leaned in, our lips nearly touching. Ew! Are you seriously about to kiss the stable boy? Ugh! Clara's timing was the worst!
I have a name. It's Josh.
Oh, whatever you say, Josh. What are you doing here, Clara? Just wanted to remind you that you may think you're hot stuff now, but you're still the same old loser you've always been.
Sounds like you're jealous that Jenny is finally getting the spotlight instead of you.
Josh, that's not nice.
Are you seriously taking her side?
I just want everyone to get along. Is that so wrong? Clara rolled her eyes in disgust and left. I was hoping Josh might try to kiss me again, but he left too. At least Nessa was still on my side. You still like me, don't you, girl? Don't give me that look. Thankfully, Josh didn't stay mad at me for long. He even invited me over for dinner to meet his parents. Their house was tiny and chilly from a broken heater, but his parents were the sweetest. His mom made the best dumplings for dinner. Later that night, Josh showed me the hill where he loved to lay out and look at the stars.
One day, I'm going to have enough money to open stables of my own. I'll buy my parents a ranch, and it will be filled with horses and happy animals roaming free. Sorry, I'm rambling.
Not at all. I think it's a beautiful dream. Josh gazed into my eyes, and in that moment, we had our first kiss. I wish I could have stayed with him on that hill forever, but I had a race to win. Unfortunately, Nessa wasn't feeling well, and we only came in third.
3rd place? You won't get into the Olympics with a record like that.
Winning isn't everything, Dad. I'll have to take a break for a little while so Nessa can recover.
A break? Nonsense. She's just a dumb horse. You can replace her. This one looks healthy.
My dad patted another horse on the rump, and the horse neighed angrily and kicked her stall. My dad was so startled that he fell back into a pile of poop. I couldn't stop laughing.
Stupid animals. I'm leaving. Honey, we just want what's best for you, and the Olympics are a golden opportunity. I hope you do what's right.
I didn't like the idea of riding another horse, but I didn't want to let my parents down either, so I started training again with a new horse named Clyde. Clyde wasn't the friendliest, but boy was he fast. There was no way I'd lose now. One day after training, my parents took me to a fancy restaurant for dinner. I insisted on bringing Josh with me, even though my parents looked down on him for not being rich. They were polite enough not to say that out loud, but Clara was another story. Pass me the salt, stable boy.
Get it yourself, rich girl.
I'll grab it. Here you go, Clara. All evening went like that, with Clara and Josh arguing, my parents looking awkward, and me trying to keep the peace. At one point, Clara accidentally spilled her drink all over Josh. Honestly, you might actually be cleaner now.
I don't have to take this. I'm leaving. Jenny, are you coming with me or staying?
My heart sank. I didn't know what to do. If I left, my family might stop talking to me again. But if I stayed, I could lose Josh.
I'll make the decision easier for you. I'm done. Have a nice life, Jenny. Hope someday you learn to stick up for yourself.
And then he left. Geez, what was his problem? Shut up, Clara. You got what you want. The next day, I went to the stables to apologize to Josh. I'm sorry my family were all such jerks to you.
Don't you think it's a little weird they only started showing up now that you're famous and successful?
It's not like that. You don't know them. It's complicated.
They're using you, Jenny. At least Clara is honest enough to be a jerk to your face.
She's not a jerk. She's my sister.
You deserve better than them. I wish you could see that.
Well, maybe you should stick to horses because you obviously don't have a clue about people.
Like you're some expert? You're so afraid of people disliking you that you buy them off with gifts. It's sad.
And with that, Josh walked away. Ugh, he was so judgmental. For a moment, I almost threw a temper tantrum like I used to when I was 5. But then Nessa nuzzled her nose against my shoulder, calming me down. I was frustrated with Josh, but maybe he had a point. I decided it was time to make some changes. I stopped mentioning my dad's business in interviews. I still complimented people, but I made sure the compliments were sincere, not empty words to make them like me. I stopped buying everyone expensive gifts, too. Well, almost. There was still one gift left to give. It's true I lost some friends when I stopped being so generous, but the ones who stayed were amazing. And the best part was I knew they liked me for me. On the morning of the race, I knew what I had to do. I was at the starting line with the other racers, waiting for the starter pistol to go off. My parents and Clara were in the stands. The shot went off, and I turned around and raced in the other direction.
Jenny, where are you going? You're going to lose. All your hard work will be for nothing.
Sorry, Dad. Guess I just don't care about winning as much as you do.
You're embarrassing this family.
You do that just fine on your own. My dad turned beet red. Clara started laughing. Oh, look who grew a backbone. Go get him, sis. And with that, I spurred Nessa forward and we raced for the stables. I just hoped Josh would be there. I looked around everywhere and couldn't find him. Then I heard a voice.
Did you pay to fix the heater at my family's house?
Look, I wanted to ask permission first, but I knew you'd just say no. It's not a bribe. You don't have to talk to me or even like me. Your parents were kind to me, and I wanted to return the favor, that's all. And I finally stood up to my parents. I'm done being a people pleaser.
Good for you. So tell me, what does Jenny the Jockey Barbie want to do first?
This. I kissed Josh, and he held me in his arms. Nessa whinnied behind us. I think she approves.